Hey FlossTube, this is Alma, and you have reached my FlossTube channel, Alma's Little Wonders. Today is Thursday, January 9th of the year 2020, and this is FlossTube number 2. So, welcome back to all of you that saw my first video. Thank you so much for leaving all your lovely comments and reaching out via Facebook or Instagram. It was really encouraging and humbling to see all the positive responses from you guys. So yeah, again, just thank you so much. It means more than I can say. And if you're new, then welcome to my channel. I hope that you see something you like, and you find a reason to stay and subscribe and follow me on my stitching journey this year. So since this is still kind of like the first few videos, I did want to take a little bit of time and talk about my social media presence, if you will. If you're not interested, then that's okay. I'll go ahead and put the timestamp in the description box, so you can go ahead and skip ahead if this isn't your jam. No hard feelings, but I did feel like it was important to give a shout out to Facebook groups, because they've just all helped so much in improving my stitching process and just being more focused and more goal oriented. So I did want to, so again, just bear with me, and again, skip ahead if you're not really interested, but I will link them below as well. So if you do hear about something that you think you might be interested, then go ahead and join, because like I said, the improvement is just ridiculous to say the least. And I did mention them in passing in my last video, so I didn't want to just leave that hanging, but I purposely didn't go into detail because, first of all, it would have been a much longer video, and as it was already an hour, so God bless you all for trudging through it. I promise my weekly updates, because I do want to make them weekly, they won't be as long, but that being the first video, there was the whip parade, so those are just generally longer, so I'm gonna try to keep them much shorter for my regular FlossTube updates. But I also didn't want to mention them in the first video because a lot of the groups shifted gears for the new year. So I also wanted to wait a little bit to kind of let the dust settle, because I feel like, new year, and suddenly everybody was super motivated, and they just wanted to participate in all the challenges and stitch all the things. And I mean, I was one of them. Like, I was all geared up and ready to participate in everything, but it was just so overwhelming. So I also needed a little bit of time to kind of step back and really think about what was actually reasonable and doable. So having said that, I did want to give a shout out to the School of Magical Stitches and Literature. You'll hear me talking about this one a lot. The group is administrated by Vicky and her wonderful team of admins, and they do a fantastic job of working behind the scenes and make magic to provide us with the best experience possible. The group was Harry Potter themed last year. This year we shifted to Disney. So when you join the main group, you're sorted, you answer a couple of questions, and you're sorted into one of 4 subgroups. Last year it was the Hogwarts houses. Go Ravenclaw. But this year we're doing it based on the hotel resorts in Walt Disney World. So I was sorted into the Grand Floridian. There's also the Boardwalk Resort, the Wilderness Lounge, and the Beach Club. So the group does books every year. Last year was Harry Potter series. This year we're doing 2 series. We're reading Kingdom Keepers, and we're also reading the Villains series by Serena Valentino. I can't remember the name of the Kingdom Keepers author, but it's the same author of the Percy Jackson series. Ripley? I can't remember, I'm sorry. But those are the books this year. So the group is structured so that there's weekly homework assignments based on whatever's happening in the book at that point in time. And there's stitching components and reading components as well to it. But I mostly do stitching, so I am participating in the monthly reading challenge, which is reading 4 books, but I'll mostly talk about the stitching in my videos. So they do weekly homework assignments, monthly extra credit. There's also a group challenge where you work with your hotel group to work towards like unlocking the park or freeing it from the evil villains. And there's also individual year-long challenges that you can work on throughout the year. Those are more hardcore, so I'm not going to be doing them. I've decided I'm not going to be doing them, and I may participate in the group challenges if time permits, but I'm mostly going to focus on the individual weekly assignments and the homework and the monthly extra credit for that one. Because it's such an incredible way of just working on your whips. You average about 500 pieces per week. There's usually like 4 or 5 prompts, and 150 stitches here, 200 stitches there. You also have the option of doing penalty stitches. So if there's a prompt and you don't have a whip to match it, you can do like 50 or 100 penalty stitches. It varies, but you can do the penalty stitches and use whatever whip you want and then fulfill the homework requirement that way. So again, just before you know it, you've stitched 700 pieces or stitches. Similarly, there's the Enchanted Stitching Challenge. They are also Disney themed, but they do it by movie. Every month they focus on a new movie. So when I joined, it was back in October. They were doing Nightmare Before Christmas. They did Coco for November. December was Santa Claus, and this month they're doing Peter Pan, which is great because I have a Peter Pan whip. Yay! So it's great. It's a great motivator to get work done on that piece. So that's headed by Kat and Deborah, and like Magical Stitches, they do weekly assignments where it's 4 or 5 prompts, and you just work on whatever whips fit each prompt. There's also a watch party, so if you want to earn points for your team, a couple of extra points for your team, you can watch whatever movie we're focusing on. The teams for that group is based on the parks, the actual parks in Disney World. Team Hollywood Studios. There's Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, and Epcot. I think those are the 4. I don't know if there's a 5th, but I think there's only 4. That group doesn't have the penalty stitches option, but they really encourage you to be as creative as you want to match your whip to the prompt. But what I do like that they've introduced this year is they've added an alternative option where instead of counting stitches, you can do it by the time that you work on your pieces. So instead of doing 250 stitches on your whip, you can work on it for 2 hours and call it a day, which is a great option to have for the whips that I don't have on Pattern Keeper, like the hard copy patterns that I have to like manually count stitches on. Peter Pan. Again, so I just stitch 2 hours and then call it a day. It's great. I'm also a member of Full Coverage Fanatics with Ann P. and Kim Hollenbach. Like the name implies, if you, like me, enjoy stitching on full coverage, Heaven and Earth Designs, Tilton Crafts, Artisy, Golden Kite. I mean, there's so much out there. But if you like working on those kind of projects, then this is the group for you. They provide counting challenges and non-count events. So I participate in pretty much all of them. This year for the counting challenges, they're doing national park tour. So they're doing 25 national parks total. They split it up into 5 tiers, 5 groups of 5 parks each. So the point is that for every park, you pick 1 whip and do 4,000 stitches on it. So 4,000 stitches per park for 5 parks and 5 groups. If you go through the entire challenge, you will have stitched 100,000 stitches. How cool is that? They also have the 20 in 20 challenge, which you pick 1 whip and you do 20,000 stitches on that single whip. And you can double dip. So you can use the park challenge to count towards the 20 and 20 challenge. So it's a little bit of a, but again, if 100k stitches is just way too overwhelming, you can just do the 20 and 20, a little bit of a smaller scale group or challenge. The non-counting events are a tour around the world, where each month they're going to feature a country, and you can stitch on a piece that is somewhat related to that country. It can be as easy as flag colors, like hey, there's green in the Brazilian flag, so I'm going to stitch on this piece because it has green. But you can go more in depth, if the piece is by a French author or French designer, then you can use it for France. We're doing France in May. So for France, I'm working on Esmeralda because Hunchback of Notre Dame takes place in Paris, France. This month we're doing Australia. I'm taking the easy route and doing the flag colors. So it has white, so I'm stitching on Snow Girl because it has a lot of white. And on that note, shout out to all of our Australian friends, FlossTubers, and just everybody. There's just no words for what they're going through. I live in SoCal, so my neighborhood was on fire last year, but that just feels like small scale compared to what they're going through. So thoughts and prayers are with you, love and light. There's plenty of FlossTubers that are doing, they're donating proceeds. Like they'll offer a pattern and the proceeds go to help and support. So go and support them because they're supporting our Australian friends. Tess Stitches is one of my fellow FlossTubers. I love her. She's always been very supportive. I hope you're okay, and Aussie Stitcher as well. Again, just anybody and everybody. Hope you're all doing okay. It's just, again, there's just no words. I did want to mention one more group because it'll be relevant in a few minutes. Stitch from Stash. There's 2 different Stitch from Stash groups. One of them has the hyphenated years 2017-2020. That one is they're the ones that do the budget system. So if you've ever heard of FlossTubers talking about their budgets and how finishes earn them credits, essentially you set a monthly budget for yourself, anywhere between $0 and $25. This is all virtual. No one is actually giving you any money, sadly. But you know, if you make any purchases that are cross-stitch related, then that amount gets taken out of your budget. But if you finish pieces, you finish a page, and you know, like the bigger full coverage pieces, then it earns you credit towards your budget. And then the second group, Stitch from Stash, is also geared towards working from. They're both geared towards working from with what you have, using up stash that you already own, as opposed to buying new things. But obviously, nobody will ding you. Nobody's gonna yell at you for, you know, falling off the wagon. Just get back on and try again. It's all about the effort, you know, trying to save money and you know, stitch on things that you already own. Having said that, I do want to get into my stitchy progress of the week. I did promise you a finish on my last video, and so here she is, all finished up. I have to iron her. I have to iron and wash and iron her, but stitching is done. I'm sorry, I can't do much about the lighting, guys. Doing my best. The back stitch was insane, guys. I always forget how long the back stitching takes. I thought I was gonna finish this like Saturday morning. I was like, yeah, I'll sit down in the morning, I can finish it. It took me 2.5 days, guys. Ridiculous. But again, she's done. I'm probably not going to keep her. Because I don't know. I don't know what I would do with her, but I think I'll just give it her, because I do have a few people that I could potentially gift it to. So I think I will do that instead. And I did mention in the Facebook group segment that Enchanted Stitching is focusing on Peter Pan this month. So I did get some work done on my Thomas Kincaid kit, Tinkerbell and Peter Pan Fly to Neverland. And if you watched my video, then you know that the goal this year is to finish it at the end of the year, by the end of the year. And it is my oldest whip. I've had this since 2013. So 2013? I'm pretty sure it's 2013. So it deserves to be finished. Again, it's just one of those, but it's such a hard stitch that progress is slow. But again, I do feel inspired and motivated by the fact that we're focusing on it in Enchanted Stitches this month. So this is what I have. I'm over 60% done, and I only got like 400 stitches in so far this week. I do plan on working on it maybe today or tomorrow. This week I just kind of focused on hard see, there we go. I just focused on this area right here, the clouds close to the crocodile. And it doesn't look like I did much. I think that's also why it's so discouraging to work on this. It's because progress seems slow, and it doesn't, like, again, it doesn't, you can't discern it. But I do want to pick it back up again tomorrow or over the weekend. Another one of my focus pieces for this month is teacup display. The kit is by DesignWorks. The artwork is by Joan Elliott. And the goal for this month is to finish a quarter of the piece. And I'm starting on the border. So I want to do the entire border before moving on to the centerpiece, the main design. And this is where I am at now. So the last time, for my last video, I think I was like somewhere around like this section. So I just continued the border along this side. So yeah, again, it's a really quick stitch. For this one, it's really easy to see the progress. So I'm sure I'll be able to meet that goal, no problem. And I did use that for a homework assignment for enchanted stitching this week. Another piece that I used for a homework prompt for enchanted stitching is Lilac Evening. This is a Rioli's kit. And it is stitched on 18 count or 14 count. So I got Ada, and it comes with anchor threads as well. So the prompt was to work on something with a woman, because Wendy is being told to grow up and become a proper lady and stop the childish nonsense. So I had to work on my lovely lady. So what I worked on this week was filling in the back of the hat. So that was 300 stitches, and I also started on the white. You can kind of see over here. So that's the lace that ties, the hat under her chin. And that was 300 stitches for the homework assignment. And again, for that one, you can also easily tell the progress. Not so much with some other pieces. And another one of my focus pieces this month is Snow Girl, charted by Tilton Crafts, based on Daniel Kordick's artwork. I actually used this to fulfill pretty much all of the magical stitches homework. Again, penalty options. And the goal is to reach 20,000 stitches in 2020. So again, just trudging on and trying to get that goal met as soon as possible. And I did take a page from Tess Stitches' book, and I started gridding. I said I didn't like gridding, but here I am. Again, sorry, my nose is itchy, guys. Sorry. But just because of the way the Pattern Keeper is now letting me have more freedom with how I stitch, I want to be able to take advantage of it. So if that means reading more, then so be it. So for Snow Girl, this is where I am at. And again, I'm sorry if it's hard to see, because it is white on white and the lighting is not that good. I usually stitch earlier in the morning, but I got tired of the white, so I ended up starting on the blue over here. But then I had, again, just because of the way that I'm gridding now, I had the brilliant idea of starting on the border. this, again, I don't know if you can see, try to put it against the light or something, but this entire piece has a 5-stitch border going all around it. So since I did grid all the, so I don't think I'll be able to get it all in the frame, but I did grid a couple of columns all the way down to the bottom of the piece, and I'll continue to do that with this piece. But that's one way to, because it is a focus piece for this month. The goal, amended goal, I should say, is to reach 3,000 stitches. So for those of you that watched my first video, I did talk about goals as well. Originally that was going to be, the goal for that one was going to be 4,000, but life happened. I'm starting a new job next week, so it's great for the wallet, bad for stitching time. So you know, my ambitious side wanted to be like, let's just keep the goals the way they are, but I just thought, you know, my stitching time was going to be cut down significantly, so I needed to adapt the goals accordingly. So I've updated my whip go board, which I'll talk about next time a little bit more, yeah, I've just adjusted accordingly. So Snow Girl has actually gotten 1,300 stitches so far this year. So again, reaching 3K by the end of January is going to be no problem whatsoever, especially because I don't even have to look at the pattern, I don't have to count, it's just 5-stitch border all around, easy peasy, right? So I'm glad I found that motivation to keep working on the piece. I also worked on Wonder Woman. The piece is called Wonder Woman Warrior Princess. Again, charted by Tilton Crafts, based on Daniel Kordick's artwork, and I used her for homework assignment as well. She's still in the Q frame because Q snap, because I was working on her last night. So since you last saw her, I mean, not much. It's just I'm still on the border, on the background, but I did start on the black because I just the corner does have a lot of dark colors and black in it, so I just thought I'll just get it out of the way as much as I can. The grime guard is by Silver Moon Sewing, and I believe the needle minder is by Ivory Needle Store. So I'm pretty sure. I'll link those below. So if you know you like my matching grime guard and needle minder. But I am using her for one of the parks for the 4,000 stitches. So there's no monthly limit or monthly. There's no deadline. There's no deadline for when the parts need to be finished. It's just kind of do it at your own pace. So she's gotten nearly 1,000 stitches done this year so far. So no, I don't know, she might get a focus next month. I'm not sure when she might get a focus, but 4,000 stitches I don't think will be a problem. Another project that I worked on is Harry Potter. So if you remember from my previous video, the goal is to finish this year. And that amounted to doing 200 daily stitches. I haven't been able to stick to it, but I make up for it. So if I miss a day, then the following day I'll go ahead and work, try to do 400 stitches. This particular pattern is by Stitching Girl. It's no longer listed, and I forgot to mention that in my previous video. She doesn't have this on her Etsy shop anymore, but I know that there's other sellers that have the same image. It's just charted differently, because Lady Wing Designs is also working on this image, but again, it's a different pattern. And I tried to do the 200 daily stitches. So this is what I have so far. So I worked on I call them columns, but it's the windows of the Great Hall. They have it has those long, narrow windows down the hall. So there's, I think, like 20 rows down here, full of black, by the way. There's 20 rows down here, and the page break, I think, comes over here or something, like somewhere over here. Yeah, I think it is somewhere down here. But once I get those 20 rows finished, then I'll have finished the entire black in this page, which is nice. This has gotten nearly 1,700 stitches done this month alone, which brings me to 43% completion. So again, it's finishing this is a very lofty goal, but I think I can do it. And again, I'll adjust my focus pieces as needed if I see that I'm not getting to where I want to be. Grime Guard is also by Silver Moon Sewing. And the needle actually came with a material pack from Heaven and Earth Designs. And as you can see, again, sorry for the lighting, but as you can see, it is Ravenclaw. That was totally random. I did not buy it myself. It just came with the material pack. I don't know how she knew. But I was very happy for that. It was a very happy coincidence. And the last piece that I worked on for this week is my Heaven and Earth Designs Moon Charmer. By the artwork is by Amy Stewart, and I am doing the select a size option because it was smaller than the original size, and I didn't know about like requesting sizes, so I just saw that it was smaller and called it a day. And I'm using this for the 100 Days of Hate challenge, and I'm going for the page completion option because there's 2 different ways you can do the challenge. This is another one where the progress is hard to tell because I'm not necessarily working by columns, I'm working by rows. So again, thanks to Pattern Keeper, I'm able to just work on the entire section of that color without worrying about page breaks. Because I think the page break is over here. So yeah, so the goal for that challenge is to finish this page that's over here and then finish an entirely new page over here. So I have, I did put in 1,000 stitches. Well, I have put in 1,000 stitches this year. I think it's been maybe like 600 since you last saw it. So I don't know if you can tell the difference, but I have my progress, I'm working rows by rows. And Grime Guard again, Silver Moon Sewing. And the Needle Minders by Ivory Needle Store. That one's for sure, because it's one of my favorites. It's really pretty. So yeah, I think I'm going a little bit slower on this that I would like, because again, tomorrow is day 10 of the 100 day, and I've got a lot to go. So yeah, this may be my focus piece for February, maybe. I think I'll do that. We'll see. Because I do want to reach that goal, but I don't know, because I'm not gonna have that much stitching time. So those are my whips of the week. Again, thanks to School of Magical Stitches, Enchanted Stitching. You get a little bit done on a lot of different projects. You have the option of working on one project, doing penalty stitching, like what I did with Snow. I just used, I think there were like 5 prompts and I used her for 4 or something. So again, fantastic way of getting things done. So one thing I did get to this week was, it only took me like what, 6 days, I think 7 days, and I already fell off the wagon for Stitch from Stash. But I got this little beauty off of Etsy. It's a Disney Villains piece by Zana Cross Stitch, and I could not get it, guys. Again, we're doing the Disney Villains series for School of Magical Stitches. Serena Valentino does her spin on the origins of each villain. So far, she has covered Evil Queen, Ursula, Maleficent, and a few others. She's done the Beast, Mother Gothel from Tangled, and then she dedicated an entire book to 3 of her original characters. There's 3 witches. So each book is meant to be a standalone, at least towards the beginning. They're more like standalone stories. But those 3 witch sisters are just meddling in everybody's business. So I couldn't not get this pattern. Also, she's coming out with a new book in July. And can you guess who the main character is going to be? It's Cruella, guys. So here we have 4 of the characters that are the center of attention, I suppose, for the books. I could not get this, guys. So I want to work on this as we go along. So I want to start this next week. I have it graded already. I just haven't actually like put in the stitch. But I want to work on it as we go along with the series. So for this month and for next month, I want to work on this panel, and then the following 2 months I work on this panel, because that's, I think, no, actually no, Beast is next. So I might just do 3 months on her and 3 months on her. When you buy the pattern, it does come as 4 separate pieces, but I just love the way that she displays it, and it does come out to a very nice even 250 stitches once you get rid of the overlapping border. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do one big piece, and it's Pattern Keeper compatible. Woo! So for you magical stitchers, you know, if you want to join in and stitch this along with me, go ahead. Can we get Vicky onto this? Somebody reach Vicky. So Disney Villain by Zana Cross Stitch. So I'm really looking forward to this, guys. But that's it. That's the only thing I'm gonna buy, I swear. Not really, because I mean, I will try, obviously. It's the whole purpose of the group. But again, this is just too perfect to pass up, guys. But that is it from me for this week. Thank you if you made it thus far. 40 minutes is still a little bit longer than what I would like, but I did work on a lot of pieces this month or this week. So again, if you have any questions about anything that you saw in this video, feel free to leave a comment. And again, feedback is always appreciated because I'm still very new at this. I hope to get better. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. I hope you have a very good weekend, and as always, happy stitching. Bye, guys.